Hi guys, it's Sam from Sammy's Reviews, and today's video is a different type of video. Today's video is a movie recommendation video. Ever since the lockdown has begun, I've seen close to 50 movies. So these recommendations are by no means the only recommendations I'm going to be giving. This is just the beginning of a series where I recommend movies. To begin with, the first movie I'm going to be talking about is not actually a movie. It's a trilogy. It's the three-color trilogy, Blue, White, and Red. These are directed by Krzysztof Kieslowski. Some of his most famous movies include The Double Life of Veronica, the short movie about love, and a short movie about killing. And also he released a mini-series called Decalogue, where it consists of 10 episodes. Each episode talks about one of the commandments, which shows how Kieslowski usually divides and focuses on only one subject inside his movies. This is why the Three Colors trilogy, Blue, White, and Red, these are the colors of the French flag, and each color represents a quality. This was Kieslowski's last movie, and it was released as one long movie over 4 hours long and released in 1993 to 1994. Movie number 1, Blue, follows a woman dealing with her husband's death in a car accident, and she slowly regains her freedom as she used to live in her husband's shadows. And she learns the value of liberty, and here comes the color blue, which represents liberty and freedom. Her husband used to be a composer. He was working on composing an opera, and she used to help him write his music, which is subtly implanted from the beginning of the movie. So she gets these pieces of the opera in her head, while an artificial, non-diegetic light is all over her face. This is the most experimental of the three movies. What's so special about this movie is the translation of music onto the screen, and Juliette Binoche's performance is one of the best performances she's given. This is my favorite movie in the trilogy, along with Red, which we will get back to later. On to the second movie, White. It stars Julie Delpy, the actress and the writer of the Before trilogy. It follows an underdog story of a man whose wife divorces him for their lack of connection as they speak different languages and for his lack of having money. So he's forced to go back to his country, where he rebuilds himself and tries to get her back. As we discussed, the color white represents equality, which is very interesting how Kieslowski is originally Polish, but he lives in France and he films all his movies in France except this movie. This movie discusses themes such as immigration, miscommunication, the barrier of language, and it has a very melodramatic approach. Red follows a part-time model who randomly meets a retired judge. It takes place in only one neighborhood. The color red represents brotherhood, which is why the camera flow between the characters and moving from one character to another is so smooth to represent the unity and the closeness of us as humans. The whole movie is built on the idea of parallelism. Each scene, each event, each character you can see more than once during the movie if you paid attention, which reinforces the idea that we all have similar destinies and we all go through the same thing in one way or another. And I give it 9 out of 10. The second movie I'm going to be recommending is Alice, released in 1988 and directed by Jan van Meer. This is a very underrated and unique adaptation of Alice's Adventure in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. It's a very grim and avant-garde take on this old tale, which shows how old tales such as Wizard of Oz, Peter Pan, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland can be as surreal and as wild as the artist's imagination, which shows how old tales still affects artists to this day, as we have Rabbits by David Lynch and we have Wild at Heart, which is a very interesting adaptation to Wizard of Oz. This movie is small scale, small budget, it takes place in one room, it follows only one child actress, which is a very economical choice. This movie offers a very interesting imagery as it switches between animation. We have 2D animation, we have claymation, we have stop motion animation, we even have puppeteering. I believe this movie is very interesting for anyone who is interested in the Impressionism movement or the Surrealism movement, and I give it 8 out of 10. The third and final movie that I'm gonna be recommending today is a Scorsese film. Now I know that Scorsese is a household name, however this movie I have not seen a lot of people talk about. Scorsese is known for either long gangster epics such as The Goodfellas, Casino and The Irishman, or religious movies such as Silence and The Last Temptation of Christ. Also, these movies cover a very long period of time and it runs for 3 and maybe 4 hours. However, this movie is the complete opposite of that. It's barely an hour and a half. It takes place in one night only. It follows a guy who randomly meets a girl in a bar and decides to meet her for the second time in the same night in a small apartment in Soho. Also, fun fact, Griffin Dunne, who plays our main character, used to be well known for playing in the movie American Werewolf in London. During the movie, the main character tries to dig himself out of troubles by only making himself fall deeper into bigger problems. The movie is very fast-paced, it's very enjoyable, it has a very interesting soundtrack, and unlike any of Scorsese's soundtrack, it has 80s synth music. It's one of the main inspirations for Good Time, directed by the Safdie brothers, which is very well acclaimed. What's very interesting about this movie is how it works better when you put it in the context of a dream than in a context of reality, as things are very overly connected. One of the main themes in the movie is how a person who has lived in a comfort zone for a very long time develops an unconscious fear of getting out of this comfort zone. And I give it 9 out of 10. Have you seen any of the movies I just recommended? If you did, please leave your opinions down below. And if you have any movie to recommend, please share your opinion. And thank you so much for watching, and bye!